Hey, this is B from Kongs and here's my review of the Arcade1Up Simpsons cab that I got to check out in hand in person at the Arcade1Up office in Union City thanks to John D. So this production version didn't have a stool, so I believe this is the Walmart version, which you can get at $529. There's other version models available at $699 with the stool and a tin sign, but this was a plain base model. Now let's talk about the artwork and the design, which pays great homage to the original Konami Simpsons cab. They got the blue, they got the artwork, they got the marquee, and they decided to keep the riser very plain, black on the front, blue on the sides. And this is the most fantastic part, the molded coin doors that look absolutely realistic. The chrome is spot on. I was so excited about these. Now let's look at the 4-player control deck with the 2-button design for each of the players, a start button, colorful joysticks, which are your typical Arcade1Up buttons and sticks, which are fine for beat 'em ups, no big deals. There's a little how to play the Arcade1Up Simpsons game, and new to this is the trackball. So this is a tiny trackball in the center that rolls and works perfectly for the game, and it works. Now let's get into some gameplay with Mrs. Kongs taking the helm as Lisa on the beat 'em up. If you have 4 friends, you can get in there and play. It was just me and Mrs. Kongs in this video for now doing some gameplay. So let's check out how this game works out on the cab itself. It plays really well as you would normally think it would. This game isn't that difficult to emulate. It looks really great. In this particular shot, there's no scan lines, and she is playing the beat 'em up really well. Really simple, tight, crisp controls, and the screen looks really vibrant. This is one of the things that they've done well with their Gen 3 monitors and on. So here's where I join in Mrs. Kongs playing as Homer, and this is where I start to have issues with the cab. My biggest gripe and issue is this right here. When you're playing as Homer, the button layout of the 2-button layout is actually on top of the joystick itself. So when you're playing, you can see here the joystick is continually hitting up against my right thumb as I'm playing the game. There's no avoiding this, and it's just a really weird, awkward placement. Even Mrs. Kongs' tiny hands playing there have this issue where you're butting up against it. I realize they might have done this to leave extra room for the trackball, but I think they could have found a better placement for this, and it's really disappointing. It is nice to see, however, the options menu for lives, difficulty, and scan lines, which you can see here in the Arcade1Up Simpsons version. You can add the scan lines for your preference instead of playing with the crystal clear screen. Some people like the scan lines, some people don't. Options are really nice to have. So here it is, the Simpsons game with scan lines. Now let's move on to some gameplay of Simpsons Bowling, which is a game that came out in the year 2000, and I personally never played this game in the arcades. I never saw it, so I was surprised to see it here, but I'm glad it's here because it's really fun. You take control of one of 8 characters. There's a secret character for Grandpa. You pretty much move your character into position, move the ball left or right, and then you pretty much roll the ball once it gets into the green spot, and you should knock over some pins. It's pretty fun and simple. This is something that anybody can pick up really quickly. In fact, Mrs. Kongs was playing this for the very first time. You see right here, I was showing her how to play the game. Her very first strike or bowl is a strike, and so we started going back and forth, playing a full round of bowling, and she was really good at this. I got a strike on my second time. It's a super simple game to play. Each character has strengths and weaknesses on your style, but I liken this to almost like Wii bowling. It was super simple to pick up, and anybody can play this. This is great. She got a turkey on her first go around. Her first 3 bowls were turkeys, so that's how easy it is to play this her very first time. And so once you get a turkey, you actually can get a special ball here, and you see she got a bomb there, and this just helps you add some different elements of gameplay to change it up from your typical bowling game. So it's really fun. You play 10 frames, and once we finished the game itself, I actually ended up winning, getting 236 and then putting my name on the top score. Now let's look at some of the options for the Simpsons Bowling cab. You have your difficulty, your timing meter. We saw in the Simpsons Arcade you had scan lines, lives, difficulty, and then with your network settings for the general cab, you have network settings, restoring factory settings, sound effects, and checking for updates. So this is your typical setup on an Arcade1Up for options menu. One of the features I didn't get to test out was the online play, but I highly recommend checking out Your Average Gamer, who did the first review on Simpsons, and he's done a couple of follow-up videos as well, testing out the online play. So check it out. I know that the Simpsons Arcade is online capable, but the bowling game is not online. So final thoughts in the Arcade1Up Simpsons cab. This is one of those cabs I was definitely on the fence about, especially at that original $6.99 price point, as I didn't need the stool, I wasn't a fan of the tin sign, but when the Walmart version came out at $5.29, that's what piqued my interest and really got me interested in this cab, not just because of the gameplay and the game itself, but the unique controls of the bowling game is what really sold me. This is the first bowling game that Arcade1Up did, and they knocked it out of the park in my opinion, because this game I've tried to emulate this in MAME, and it kind of sucks. It doesn't have all the voices in there. It's a little bit wonky to get it up and running, and it wasn't a great experience. It was fun, but this emulates the game perfectly. The polygonal figures, the outfits, the voices all work seamlessly. I was really surprised at how well this performed for a bowling game, and that's what's going to keep me coming back. I think I'm going to be playing bowling more than the Simpsons Arcade itself, because it's a fun bar game. Anybody can pick it up and learn it. You can see me and Mrs. Congress having a good time here, and I loved Wii Bowling. I love bowling games, so this is going to be a big hit in my household. I think I'm going to play this casually often. So I would recommend this cab. I would pick it up if you can find it, if you can pre-order it, if you can walk into a Walmart. I won't get my physical cab until January, which makes me sad, but I'm so happy I got to play this at the Arcade1Up office. Thanks John D again for having us and letting us play on the Simpsons cab. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Happy bowling everybody. Bye.